Hey, was it a bit of a change of pace tonight? You're going to have the scissors out, not me.
Yes, finally we've got one ready for a little bit of scissor action. This one should be potentially good little clutch, but praying for some magic to pop on out of it. I'll just get this cord out of the way before I kill myself with it. What have you been doing?
Sorting stuff. Dropped off 8 snakes this morning, which was good. 13 out the door. Oh, lost you. Where'd you go? Oh no. Brent's having more social connect. I can't hear. I've lost you. I can't hear Brent. I don't know if anyone else can. Can you hear me? Hang on. Let me send him a message. We go off Brent. Chris, Mitch, Brandon, Christopher, Zach. Hey guys, how are you? Brent's technical stuff is playing up as always. He'd be loving it right now. Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay? Just let me know if you guys can still hear me. All right. And I'll talk garbage while Brent's sorting his stuff out. Lost him, yeah. Hey all, Jaden, how you going? You guys can't hear Brent? Yeah, Brent will sort his stuff out. He'll come back in a sec. As long as you can hear me, that's yeah, sweet, good. How is everyone tonight? Hope you're all well. So, for those that are probably seen the title, Brent's cutting a caramel double het Granite Albino and an Albino Het Granite. So, yeah, Brent actually, it's funny. Brent's got himself a brand new laptop that he picked up today. Had it all sorted, and then his IT guy set him up an antivirus on it. He set the antivirus on it, and now it doesn't work. So how good's that? So
I'm back now, I think.
He's back now. So Brent's very excited. Was very excited to try his new laptop out and microphone and everything after all the dramas he's had. And antivirus on the brand new, lovely 17-inch laptop that he just got. And it doesn't work.
And after I had a hissy fit and threw all that out in the backyard, that was my IT guy calling me back, which cuts out the stream from my phone. So
is that what it was?
That's what happens, yeah. If you get a call that cuts the stream, kills everything. Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, no worries. I'm okay, thanks.
So am I. Well, it's Friday night, isn't it?
It is Friday somewhere, mate.
Yep. It's Friday for me, or Saturday for me. I don't care what. Doesn't matter what day it is. It's all the same.
Any day is a good day for a beer.
So anyway, so I was just telling everybody that you're cutting a caramel double het Granite Albino with a Albino het Granite. Is that correct?
That is spot on. The little caramel double het boy is he's a miniature guy. I didn't really think he'd have much of a crack, but I brought him down to the adult room very late in the season, and he didn't really have much time for cooling. And boom, throw him in with a couple of girls, and he was straight onto it, like just instant. Unbelievable how keen he was, and no combat, no nothing. First timer, threw him in, bang, hooked up. I was like, wow, this kid knows what he's doing. Like so, exactly. So I just gave him a couple of girls. Didn't want to sort of bust him up too much first season. Flick that other camera, Dad. Throw the egg cam on. We've got one. If you can't see him, we got one little head. One fella's is the one that pipped. He's about to make an exit.
Yep, we can make that a bit bigger there. We can see that. There we go.
Yeah, I'm just watching him. He just popped that light. Will probably annoy him now, but he just popped his head straight out of that egg right then.
Well, it's an albino by the look of it.
It is an albino. It's I can't see the top of his head. Just normal albino by the look of it. Doesn't look very granity on top.
Yep.
So yeah, I was surprised that little fella was so keen. So this clutch was very small. I think it was 11 eggs, and she's a pretty big girl too. So I sort of blame him maybe more than her. She's laid more than this before, and a few went off. So that's probably him too. So left with 8 eggs. So we've got to try and pull some magic out of 8 eggs. Really, caramel granite's all I was really hoping for out of this lot. So 1 in 8 chance, I think it is, roughly. So if we can get a little caramel granite out of these 8 eggs, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, excellent. That's the way we go. So a few people now that you've kind of got yourself together, I was saying some hellos. Might as well go back to the start. So Chris Fry, Mitch Ford, Brendan Young, Chris Fletcher, Zach Dixon. Hey, buddy. Mr. Muzz Williams.
Zachary.
Zachary, Hickory, Dickory, Zachary Dot. I won't go on with the rest of that poem that I know.
Yep.
Mitch, Daniel Millard. Who else? Jaden Cousins. Zach again. He's very busy. Can't Brent. Maggie Harriman. Hey, Maggie. How you going? Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're doing well. Chris Wall Roberts. Carl Smith. Jake Taylor. Emma Dixon's in the house as well. That's good. They must
Emma and Zach.
I wonder if they're like the sort of couple that sits there and send each other text messages when they're in the same room together. Like, can you get me a coffee?
They tuned in separately, so they're probably like at either ends of the house, you know, watching independently.
I got friends that are like that, eh? So
Yeah.
they'll be in another room instead of just saying, "Oh, do you want a coffee or something?" They'll send a message. Can you make me a coffee? I'm like, really?
Message or just Facebook it across to them, you know, like tag them in something.
Yeah, that's it. Good, Jay Taylor. Hey boys, how you going? All good? Yeah. I'm just trying to see if I missed anyone. Can you always gamble? Yeah, yes. Yep. Katie Gordon, Anthony Daniel, Elizabeth's in the house. How are you, Elizabeth? Alan Walker. G'day, Al. Gary Reid.
Sure.
I'm just trying to remember who you've already said, Zia and everyone else. So
Yep. If you're rolling in there.
Hey,
Julian Hutchin, wants his water pump for his Commodore, mate. I'll drop it off on the way to work, buddy. WP 5000 coming up for his VE, no problem.
There you go. VE. Still going.
Actually, he's got a VF one that I tell you, you drool over. It's a good bit of gear. He took me for a little test drive in it a month or two ago, and I haven't been in a fast car for a while. I hope I didn't leave too many stains on his seat because it was.
It's obviously
quick.
not mine with the V6 in it then.
No, definitely not this thing. It's HSV power and not naturally, not normal either. Very, very quick little machine.
It's got some forced air pressure going into it, has it?
Yeah, it's got lots of things going on under that hood.
Very nice. I know we're side jumping here. I actually followed one, it was a couple of months ago now. Nice Series 2 VE, and it had some work done to it. It sounded so nice, and a nice lumpy cam in it the whole lot. It was just, sitting at the lights. And you can hear some that put an exhaust on it or whatever. Sounds nice. But you can tell this guy had the motor out. It had some serious work done to it.
Yeah,
the whole car was just lumping at the lights. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Sat on nice rims. It was sitting at a nice ride height. Just a beautiful car. And I'm like,
the last of the VFs anyway.
Yeah. I'm like, I miss going to car shows, seeing all that stuff.
All right, we're ready to snip.
Yeah. So anyway, we're sidetracking there. If we start talking cars, it'll be the end of it. It'll be on.
No. We'll have to change forums.
Yes, I'll have to change the title. Talking crap about cars.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So we'll get this and we'll put you on the big screen.
Flip that one off. That might just stay there actually. That should hold up. You can see everything on this camera, I think, anyway.
Emma goes, "No, that's what yelling's for." So she just yells, "Poor Zach." He probably gets all the abuse, don't you, mate? I know. Hey, Faye's coming to say hello. Sharon Harris.
Hello, Faisy. Showing the Faisy's got some magic anti-reader action happening down there.
Yep. Put your hands a little bit further forward, mate. You're cutting off the screen.
Very cool stuff.
You're doing my trick.
Sorry, mate. I'm a bit rusty. First cut of the year,
Yeah. Anthony Daniel says, getting the snip, not here for that. If you go and see Brent will give you the snip. He's very good with scissors. That looks quite nice, mate.
And that, looking very much sun glow, very orange on the head.
I was going to say, is that a sun glow? Because it looks quite orange in the picture too, on the screen.
Don't know how close I can get from memory before it wants to shoot the biscuit.
Out of focus there. Yeah, that's fine. That's it. It's focusing on the body, but you can see, like, that's a good distance there. Very nice.
It's alive and well. nice and strong.
Only took me, I think, 18 eggs to find an albino in my clutch last night.
Look
Or the other night.
at that. Not that I needed to prove this one, but hey, look, there's the right colour one off the bat. And yeah, definitely a lot of pattern on the side, down the neck.
Oh, yeah.
Thing's,
See the red dots there?
Just a sun glow, which is still very nice, but I was hoping for an extra gene in one of those.
Never know.
On the side. Don't come running out, mate. Get back in your hole.
Yeah. Back in your box.
Just hold on, boy. These small clutches worry me sometimes with chasing odds.
Yeah, when you're chasing odds, I mean, sometimes, like we were saying the other night, a small clutch is nice, but when you're trying to work against the odds like me, 20 eggs and I still couldn't hit it, so...
Ooh. It's granite.
Caramel?
Not sold on caramel.
It's quite orange on the side.
Different.
What it looks like. Like you seem to have a dark back and like almost a completely orange side on it. It looks really nice.
I'm not sure on that. The sides are. I've not seen that colour on the sides of the granite before. That might be it.
Because that's what you've been after, isn't it? Caramel granite.
That's all I want.
This is like sort of thing, so to speak.
4 years in the making for. Because I've never hatched one, I have no idea what they look like, but I've hatched many, many, many granites, and that does not look like the normal colour they hatch. They're really dark right down the sides, the normal granites, when they come out.
Yep.
And that thing is far from it. It's got a real weird, it's quite dark up the top of the dorsal, but it fades out a lot.
Yeah, his pattern almost disappears when it's halfway down the side. Colin Shoemark's in the house. G'day, mate. I hope you're doing well, buddy.
How are you, mate?
And that's plural, that word you've put in there. It only applies to Brent, and homos does not apply to me, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, last boyfriend said it didn't.
Colin. Homos indeed.
Yeah. That looks pretty funky. That's definitely. I actually like the way you have that kind of dark pattern on the back, and then almost a defining line where it just completely changes colour and everything.
Yep, I'm just going to crack this open a little bit more.
You see his head in there?
Yeah, his head's right there in the middle. That's his head. He's got quite a dark patch on top, but it's the same deal. It's weird. It fades right off around the sides. I'll try and get him to push his head up a little bit.
It's a good looking critter. It'll be interesting to see what it's like once it's out of the egg.
Yes, definitely.
It's like it's almost like it's a, it's not, but it's almost like a chimera in essence. It's got like a wild type pattern down the back, and then the bottom half's caramel.
Yep, it's weird. That is very weird.
I'm not sure. I can look after it for you, mate, if you don't have room.
I'll probably make a tub for that one. I think. We'll see. I'm not sure of that. That's something. That's granite. I'm unsure.
Yeah, Anthony Daniels is keen to see that one after its first shed, and I totally agree. That'll be quite cool once it's had a shed.
Just keen to see it out of the egg. I might poke it a lot tonight.
And that's the thing. Like you can breed the same two animals year after year and constantly get, unusual stuff thrown into the mix. Just through polygenics. Nice.
Well, whatever that one was, this one's another one.
I reckon.
This one's a little.
It should be in the same egg. They look like twins.
Little darker, maybe.
Doesn't that one? I don't know. Like I'm only going off your camera, but doesn't look quite as defined from the back color to the belly color. Like you kind of just blends more. Whereas the other one, you seem to have almost a distinct line. You almost have that distinct line down there. Where it goes from, say, a wild typey granite type color through to the orange, for argument's sake.
Good ads. Good start for granite.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, it's the same with the head on that. It's really, really dark on top. Let me see if I can get a shot of the side of that. Focus, you piece of shit.
It's focusing.
I'm gonna,
There we go. Yeah, it was.
I'm gonna smash something electronic tonight. I'll try to do it after the show.
There's so many comments went flying through my head at that point in time, but we need to have one of our
private show.
Brent and I have talked about having the uncut, unedited.
Yes,
few
the adult only section,
where what goes through our heads actually comes out our mouths rather than being blocked. So I think it would be quite funny, but it's a good looking crate. You can see how it's darker on the head. What are the eyes like?
Just normal Granite. They're quite light normally. Don't know why it's not focusing up closer than what it is, but anyway, that's cool.
Adam Ant, hey guys. Peter Knox is doing well so far, mate. They look awesome. They sure do. Anthony O'Daniel even says doesn't look as orange. Very nice, all the same. Emma loving the odds.
Yeah, $2 grand. That's cool.
I even put it, if anybody actually read the thing, I said, no, and Brent's like, you'll hit all the odds, or something like that. I put in the title, unlike myself.
I just said to Sheree before I came up here, I said, we're trying to get caramel granite, but I've only got 8 eggs. I'm actually scared. So,
yeah.
Oh, this one's light.
Oh, Albino. Yeah. The Albino, is it granite or pattern? No, is there pattern I can see that?
That's pattern. That's just standard albino, I think.
Yeah.
See, it's head there. You can tell on the heads of the granites are very, very broken up, easy to see, but you can see that quite heavy banding on the sides of that one.
Yep.
I think that compared to the colour, you look at the colour difference in those.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely sun glow this one, and just albino on that one.
Yep.
Put him back to bed. 4 to go.
4 to go.
Be one of those cool cuts where we've just got no idea what we got.
So, Lieutenant Penalva, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. She suggests if you hold your hand behind the snake flat, it'll focus more on the egg rather because it tends to focus
trying to go past it.
Yeah, the base of your thumb sort of thing. So maybe
try this.
Yeah, like that when you open the egg flap up there.
This one's a bit wet and goopy, but looks like just a wild type.
Finally.
There's your head, buddy.
Very wet egg, that one.
It is, compared to the other two, very absorbed, and that albino is busting to get out. It's keen to go, but this one must have been in a cooler end of the tub. He's alive and well. I want to try and annoy him, get his head up. I like to get their heads a little bit
towards the top,
up closer to the air. There's he says. Pop his head up. Little wildy wild.
Very nice.
That is some goop.
Oh, don't you love it?
Oh, that was excessive. Half of that just came out all over me. Leave it alone, Darren. Say nothing.
I was about to say, no comment. No comment. See, there was another opening for comments there. Another opening.
Still PG. Oh, look, here's a slip. This one's had a bit of a crack through the day.
Got a couple there. Another on the side there.
Yeah, here's two. Another sneaky window.
Yep. Josh Clues, hey mate. Edgy Chapman. That's right. So, young boy. Sorry I'm a bit late. That's right, mate. Everyone's got their own lives in their own little worlds, so do what you got to do.
Wildy, another Wildy.
And here you're starting to play my odds.
Yes, well, they come. Let me try this one, focusing better under.
Yep, it's probably a little bit further away.
Not too bad there.
Yep. Still doesn't. I think it's just taken in more of a general focus of your hand, I think. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe try slipping the egg on your fingertips and on it that way, sort of thing. It's very annoying sometimes.
Let's go high tech and have a whole white background.
Oh, there we go. Yep, that's working. It's interesting. It actually makes it, I think, like when I do mine, when you put that white paper on there, that snake obviously is now darkened up because of the brightness.
Yeah. So
So
it's just, to me, it's like wild type as. So.
yeah. So I think next time I cut eggs, I might take the white paper off, put something dark down, and see how that goes. Because a lot of the times I notice, you know, when I cut like those ghosts, almost look black. You know, they look very dark. But
Yes.
to me,
Yep.
they're like grey colour. They're like your bench top. You know,
Yep.
light colour on your bench top there. So I might try that instead of having white paper. You think white paper would make it look clearer, but I think it's just because it's so bright. The camera tries to, you know, adjust to suit.
Bounces the light off it a bit. So maybe I'll get a black sheet or something to try them on.
Yeah.
Two to go.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's light.
Hey, Tom says hello. G'day, mate. Gaz Langley. Hey, Gaz. Peter Knox reckons two Sunglow granites left. There's one Sunglow granite left. Brent said he's going to give it to me.
Almost. That is a Sunglow. Missing granite as well, I believe.
Very light.
Yeah, a lot of pattern on that head.
Yep. Can't beat it. Albino's such a beautiful snake in her own right.
Yeah, still very cool.
Almost as good as silver pepper. I'm just saying. I'm not biased.
Almost.
So you haven't the magic odds one yet?
It doesn't look like it, mate. I don't know. Those two, I have no clue what is going on with those two granites, but
they're bloody nice, the first couple of granites, though. Chili Jim, g'day, mate. How are you? Mick Lewis.
Mr. Chili.
Always get the heads up, if not. Most of the time they're generally pretty good. They'll find their own way as long as they're slitting the eggs and everything. But if you're going to pit the eggs, you don't need to quite do what we do. Normally just cutting the egg and cutting a flap, opening up and giving it a prod. Normally they're pretty good. They'll push their head around, and doing what Brent's doing here just allows them, when they actually push their head up against the inside of the egg wall to try to cut it open, they'll find that hole that we've cut and they'll just pop their head straight out. So it just makes it a bit easier. So Tara Swanson, you missed it all, even gentlemen. Hey Tara, I hope you're doing well. Aidan Dempsey's talking about me. He said, absolutely stunning. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. Rare compliment I don't get very often. Emma Dixon, is this the only chance for caramel granites this season, Brent?
No.
No.
There will be more.
Brent has a decent season coming, so he's taken over quiet season this year, and Brent's taken over. So
yes,
he'll be doing most of the egg cutting. It won't quite be my 50-odd clutches like I had last year. Crazy season.
Won't be 50 year either, but it'll be more than normal.
It's a good looking one. So what's that one? Just the albino, is it?
Just albino, I think. It's got some crazy colours on the side of it. It's
even on, like there you can see there's quite a contrast in the head itself when you get on the right.
Yep. Some real extreme reddy colours in that side banding. That's very weird colour. Also, obviously, couldn't be the IJ mix. Mixed into the albino stuff. They throw some crazy coloured albino combos.
So how many albinos you reckon you've seen from the granite line? Like would you have over the years? Have you had would you have 20, 30?
Yeah, quite a few.
10?
Yeah, I've got I've got adult ones that are 50% IJ, 50% Darwin. They're very nice. They're bright. Like I think they're like in the natural albino form, just a brighter sort of look than the standard old Darwin.
Yeah.
So a bit different. So we didn't do too bad. Looks like 2 albinos, so 3 albinos. That one's an odd weird one, but no nothing albino with granite in it. Nice, very nice Sunglow. Done a lot of pattern on that, but head patterns definitely doesn't look granite. So a couple of wild ears, and then the 2 I'm not sure of. I think they're just granites. I think it's just a weirder coloured granite than what I've had. It's different pairing, obviously.
Just a bit of polygenic influence. Maybe it's the Darwin influence. You actually get quite a few of that light coloration with Darwin influence, depending on the, from the albino, obviously, side of things. So, quite nice.
Looking at how dark they are at the top of the back and the top of the head, I can't see that being caramel granite. I think that's
I don't think it's
just granite.
Yeah, I agree. At first I thought maybe, but I thought, no, just if it's
too
caramel, it's just doesn't sit right. No.
Yep. Generally, when I hit it, and I'm just not sure with them. So generally, when I'm not sure, it's not it. When you see it, it's.
Yeah, caramel's normally pretty standout.
Yeah, big time. Definitely in something like that, like in albinos, where you got albino or sunglow, it's a little bit harder, less obvious. But with things that are wild type or caramel, or certainly in xanthic and ghost, you certainly get a much clearer picture straight away than mixed into the albino sunglow mixes.
Yeah, that's it. Mick Lewis, no worries, mate. Anytime we'll try to help. Just answer things as best we can. Hey, Kurt, Aggressive Pythons Australia. Kurt Loveridge in the house. How are you,
Hey,
mate?
Kurt.
Usual Brent odds, only a wild type or two. That's exactly right, mate. It's unlike me. Any cutting show from Daz is wild type central.
I do my best. That's probably about the right odds. That's nearly spot on odds, because that's albino head to double head. So quarter of the clutch should be granites, which it is. Half the clutch should be albinos, which they are.
Yep.
It's about the right numbers, but we just didn't get a lot of. Hopefully, to get some granite into the albino and sunglow stuff would have been nice, but that's.
We needed another 12 eggs, mate, so you had an even 20. It would have been right.
Exactly.
But, Christopher Fletcher says, let me just before I read, we'll just modify this screen. We'll leave them sit there. That way you can see our ugly faces. How you going, Brent?
Oh, yeah. How's the beer, mate? Nice and cold?
Yep. It's number 2.
You look like you're struggling a bit with it.
I'm struggling. I've even got my little green handbag here.
The beach bag.
With extras. Even my wife said, you need a little hard esky to put under the table so you can keep them cold.
Oh, wow. Special. I have a fridge, mate. Why don't you have a fridge? I have a fridge right here under my cupboard.
Oh, is it a
you
challenge?
Need to upgrade your snake room a bit, mate. The fact that your snake room's your whole house kind of, I guess, makes it like you really do have a fridge in every room.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's enough fridges and freezers around here, let me tell you. There's just not a small one to fit under the table here. Where are we? Sorry. Chris Fletcher, what was your question? Would this be more the mum's genetics or the father's? Yeah, Brent, you can answer that.
It's always half and half. You get, allele from one mother, one father. So it's always a mix of both. There's nothing ever that's dominant in it. So it's just whatever genes they carry, and you just always get a variation of both parents. If it's polygenic trait, both of them tend to contribute to it. There's always a bit of a range. So, the wilder, if your two parents are, you'll get more of a range. That's what polygenic breeding really is. If both parents are almost identical, you line breed it, you get almost identical babies, still with a bit of a range, but just far less of a range.
You're pointing the spear, so to speak,
Yep, smaller DNA pool.
You always get one gene from mum, one gene from dad. So you always get one from each, and then on that you have your alleles, which will give you some polygenic variance between the two. But what they pass on, who knows? Especially when you're working with the double hets and possets and all that sort of stuff. So you don't know until you breed them. Where else we got here? Love the Grade Dempsey. Love the contrast of the granites. It's certainly nice. Tara. Yes, we are. I've already won a bottle. Yes, unfortunately.
Oh yes, we forgot to bet on that. I'm pretty sure you would have lost that.
Oh, for sure, because I would have been. No, I'm not going to say what I would have gone through. No, I'd have won. So just get me the bottle.
Yeah. You would have probably went for caramel granite, and there's none. So, but anyway, we'll have to remember for the next one.
I'd have said you'll get at least 4 albinos.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple of bets rolling. The first one we had, I didn't even think tonight. Actually, we were a bit slack. The first one was on my Moonglow clutch, which I didn't get. So Brent said that I reckon I'll get one. If I don't, then he'll buy me a bottle. So I didn't get one, so he's buying me a bottle.
I didn't believe that you could miss after 5 clutches and over 100 eggs a simple 1 in 16. Like, what human is possible of that piss poor a score of 100 eggs?
Yeah. Me. That'll be me.
Yes.
Pick me.
Congratulations. None from 100.
That's right. Are you cutting any tomorrow? I know I've got clutch due, hasn't picked yet. I actually put a Het Granite Mac over a blonde Mac, and they picked last night and all came out of the egg. So it's like they're all wild type, and they're only obviously 50% Het Granites, but I wanted to try to introduce some of the light blonde Mac colours into the granites. So yeah, but I do have the granite pepper clutch that we're talking about due. So hopefully in the
dying for that. How many days is that?
It was laid around. I haven't got the data in front of me, but it was laid around the same time as that albino clutch we picked. There was only like a few days in between it. Difference was they sit on different shells in the incubator. And the second one, the granite one, was obviously a bigger clutch. I think that was 20 eggs.
Yep.
And I've lost 2. So it's still a decent clutch.
A decent mix.
You know, so that'll be that one. Samuel Dittmar, g'day mate. Sorry I'm late. Looks like I missed everything. How did we do? 4 albinos, 2 granites, and 2 wild types in Brent's clutch. It's quite an albino granite, or a caramel granite like Brent was hoping for. He's one dream snake that he can't get. It's funny, the one you would honestly think to be one of the easier combinations to get, just to beat you. You know?
Yep, don't want the double recessive. I just want it incomplete dominant with the granite in there. That's a simple request, but it will come at another day.
Kurt saying, don't talk your way out of it, Brent. Cassidy can't complain of those odds. Nope, certainly not. Could be that Het for granite. Could that be Het for granite now? There'll be POS Het granites. Yep.
They will. All the albinos will be 66% POS for granite, because it's basically a Het to Het granite pairing. So but all the brown stuff will be 100% Het albino. So those 2 granites will be definitely Het albinos, because it cannot be any other way with one of the parents being albino.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, going through Carl's. That one. Yes, it is. It's my man purse, Aiden. Yep, that's right. Wish I had room for a beer fridge in my snake room. I've got one, mate. Here it is. It's a mobile beer fridge, and it holds just enough.
With a room full of tiny snakes, you think you could fit a fridge, mate? Come on, you know.
Something
if 300 snakes in one rack, you know, you should be able to manage it.
There is room here. There's actually the perfect spot under here for a bar fridge. But my fan goes under there because it gets quite like your snake room. It gets a bit warm in here sometimes. I actually got the air conditioning going on to try to stop the sweating that goes on in here. It gets a bit hot every now and then. Brett Moy, double hits is where the magic happens. They're always. It's nice when you do visual to visual, because obviously, you know, you're making more visuals. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think cutting double hits, you never know what you're going to get, eh, Brent? It's always like you're always hoping for the odds. But yeah, you know, and I think having a bit of a mixed bag is always a little bit more interesting. That's for sure. Granite pepper would be interesting. Yep, certainly will be the granite pepper. That's a long-term project that's taken a while, hasn't it, Brent?
Come back in 3 years. If I'd only got them 3 years ago, we could have been hatching the double heads right now, hey?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll have, you know, in another couple of years, we will be cutting them. Hopefully,
double heads. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, next. Well, Roberts, how's the stripes the other night? They're right, mate. They're all out of the eggs. I checked them today. They'd all come out, all looking dried and crappy and crinkly. So they were cleaned and given some fresh paper and a water bowl. So I've got a clutch due, as you probably heard, in the next few nights. So when we cut that, I'll probably bring those along and have a look. I haven't had a good look at them yet. It's pretty hard to tell. They look pretty terrible in that filthy skin they have when they come out of the eggs. But yeah, I'll have a
so thick.
Yeah, checking out, mate. I actually checked it like literally 5 minutes before we went live. So well, just have a look at the clutch. See if there's like even just a little slit in one of the eggs, you know. But no,
any slit.
I just hope it's one of those clutches, because you'll get some, like I said about the Posset Granite stuff, Max. They literally cut and they're out. Like, wouldn't have even been 12 hours from the time. Like they weren't out, hadn't even cut this morning, and this afternoon they're out. So
we probably should check the dates on them and just cut them. So if there's nothing out, you know, you're going to cut them and see them straight up, you know.
Well, but then you get clutches that will, you know, they cut an egg. It'll be an egg cut, and nothing happens for 12 hours. You know what I mean? Like one cut the egg, like your one there, might just poke its head out, but all the rest, or maybe 2 or 3 have pipped, and maybe it's because they're slightly cooler in the incubator.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it's going to be one of those. So maybe in the
slow and steady one.
Maybe tonight before I go to bed, I'll see a little slit, and then by tomorrow night they'll be nice and ready to
roll.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, that'll be an exciting one. Thing with me 3 years, definite albino granite, Brent. No, Brent. Oh, well, I'll let you answer that one, mate. I can't keep all the talking. So,
yeah, we've had albino granites for quite a few years now. I think I've bred from them, so there must be at least probably 3 years, 4 years ago. I think we got albino granites out. So
yeah,
they're adults, and boys and girls paired up, made babies and stuff. So they're out there. I actually did albino granite to Pepper over at my side to try and keep up with Daz, so we didn't have all the glory. But it was a disastrous clutch of about 2 good eggs and 15 slugs. So there's still 2 good eggs there, which will be good to add to Darren's evidence that, you know, 2 totally different lines, different blood animals, and hopefully we get the same results.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the reference of the 3 years was Brent's been trying to get the Pepper Granite pairing done for about 3 years.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Yeah, finally flicked it over to me to get the job done, and I fluked it. So, but
yes, you just nailed it within 10 minutes of that female landing there. It was like, yeah, she's in. Yeah, it's mating. Yeah, it's ovulating. And I was like,
on his clutch,
bastards. I remember the message I sent you when you sent me that picture of congrats, mate. You've done more in like 10 days than I've done in the last 3 years. Good job.
Yeah. Did I put those pics up? I don't think I've shared those photos, have I? Oh, can you read the chat there for a sec, Brent? Let me just see if I can find a couple of photos to share.
Yep.
And I can send them to myself in Messenger on here. Let's see if I think I've shared them before, but like it's always good to be able to share these things. I just got to find them now. I'm sure there's photos on the phone of the pairing. Here we go.
4 million of them.
Yep. So let me do this. Can you struggling there to see, mate, or can you see them?
I've got it there. Kurt saying, does you need to mix some platinum into those blonde granites?
Mate, I've got a clutch of platinums this year, and I that's something I'd like to do, mate. I agree. I think it's a good looking thing though. Some of those the granites and the blondes mixed together. So I've actually got some photos here. So we'll just do a little bit of a photo.
Christopher's saying, can we do a sexing video? Yeah, mate, we try to do a little one popping video here and there through the time when we get stuff that's out and straight out of the egg. Daz has popped a few. I've popped a few before, but when we get through the egg videos, definitely we'll probably do a whole video just on some popping and a bit of probing work, which none of it's hard to do. You just got to know how and be gentle and calm. And the calmer you are and the snake is, the easier it happens.
Yeah, I did it the other night with one that was out of the egg, only hatched the night before.
Yeah, well, you found my female ghost for me. Thanks.
Yeah, that's it. Probably, maybe not, maybe so. So there we go. Just screenshot that. So that was. So I had the Granite Jag there, which was the more yellow coloured one, obviously, and that's the other one of my pure silver pepper boys. I said to Brent, I said, mate, my boys are good breeders. They'll just give them anything. So I literally put the male in with the Granite. That was in, like, so not that you obviously can tell, it's a still picture. He was actually spurring the female right then. Went back probably within an hour, and he was locked up solid, as you can see, up towards the back up here. Hooked up nicely. Then she went all nice and fat and plump.
Looking like a snake should look at that time of year.
I said to Brent, I said, oh, look at this. This is what we want to see. You know, you can see the ovulation there a little bit better down through the bottom here. And then into a shed, as you would expect, nice and dark, and then boom. Not that she's a very first-time mum, not that she was overly great at calling up on the eggs as such, but yeah, a nice little clutch.
Good clutch for a first timer. She wasn't not a massive snake either.
Yep, no, not a massive snake. She was a picky feeder from Brent, as he said. I was lucky that when she turned up, which is not an uncommon thing either, you know, you can have something that's a bit on the fussy side, sell it to someone else, and they don't have a problem. And she absolutely smashed rats. Like, I gave her a good feeding. She was probably at the size, but she needed a little bit more condition just for clutch. And yeah, bang. So I think two of those eggs, I think that one you can see up here and this one down here went off. It was one slug, but the actual bunch itself are all fine and due to go. And that was the clutch there. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So yeah, 15, 16 eggs or something like that. I can't remember how many.
Good result.
Yeah. So
it's enough, you know, like it's enough to be sure. You know, like you wouldn't want to be relying on my 2 eggs. You know, it's you know, if it's visual to visual, there's going to be visuals, but it's with 15, 16 eggs, you know, there's no guesswork, you know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So can you please the second video? Yep, that's something we'll do. Carl Smith, just a bit curious when breeding, if male is twice the size of female, is there any issue with breeding them? No, not really. You know, any introduction of any pair of animals at any point in time should always be well monitored. You should just go, oh, you know, I'm just going to slap it in with there, and that male's still on feeding mode. Really, I've never had carpets actually eat each other. I have had them bite each other and coil up on each other when they, you know, think it's a food in a food response way. But I've always found they let go. But it's well documented in BHPs. I've seen it in Antaresia. You know, where a BHP female also will eat the male. So whenever you do any sort of introduction, you should always watch and monitor to make sure they settle down and do that sort of stuff. Size of male to female. When you look at carpets in the wild, normally the big ones are the boys. So, you know, they fight each other in the wild to you know, to
the mating rights.
Yeah, thank you. To fight for the rights to mate with the female. So, you know, it's all good. I like to try to keep, I don't know about you, Brent, but I like to keep things of similar size. But I've had, you know, like those breadlight girls I had, they were in the 9 kilo range. And so when you put a 3 or 4 kilo male with it, well, a 3 or 4 kilo male of anything, it's still decent size. But, you know, it's a lot smaller. So
still gets the job done, though.
That's exactly right. So yeah, I mean,
it certainly doesn't affect performance either way. I don't think, you know. It's like you say, it's just a safe factor with any animals of any size. Just be cautious. So you don't want any mishaps with just that initial entry, that normally stirs things up. So make sure you're aware.
I've got to reach in here because apparently
Lost your car keys in your handbag, mate?
I've got my car keys in my handbag. So tonight was relaxed night for me. So
Oh yeah, because all the other nights you're flat out. Yeah, I get it.
I'm a busy man. I'm you see
you're
that
entertaining.
because I've even got the lemons. Like I was completely organised.
Fully optioned, mate.
I don't drink much anymore. Luckily.
It's a school night and all.
Yeah. No, it's not Friday night. I told you that before. I don't know what night it is for you, but for me it's Friday night. So I'll put the leg over there. What are you replying to? It's not. No, nothing's hatched yet, Samuel. Hopefully soon, buddy. Next few nights. So keep your eye out. Going back to the point I was saying about hoping the egg just slits. That's because I want to be able to give as much notice. We both want to give as much notice so more people can come and see what comes out. Darren Boswell, how do you guys? Ledger Chapman, I'm starting to get my first ever clutch. They are jungle carpets and now an incubator that Dad made, and it was clutch 12. Nice, mate. Well done.
Cool.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Nothing
Always
is more
the first.
exciting.
Yes, the first are like magic, But I've got to say, after I don't know how many hundreds of eggs, it's still super exciting. It's the best time of the year. It's the moment all your hard work pays off. It's the lucky dip. You don't know what you're going to get. So it's always, you never lose that excitement. But I remember the first time, like you pee in your pants, when it's go time. So it's good.
And I know for over 20 years of breeding, no matter how many times you look at the eggs, they won't hatch any faster. I try every year.
Yes.
I've been trying for over 20 years, but it makes no difference. So
you're standing there at the incubator with your big head in there going, hello, are you ready yet? Hello.
I think I can see movement. No, how old are they? 4 days. Like, no.
Is that a slit? Is that a slit? I saw movement.
Yeah, no. So it's very much breeding snakes is very much a patience game. Sadly, it's like all this time.
Funny enough, that's the only thing that gets easier, I think, with more years, more experience of it. The 60 days now is like it just goes. Yeah. It seems like you're collecting eggs, and then shit, hang on, it's time to pip one. Like that part of it, I guess. When you've got more clutches, it seems you've got months worth of eggs coming. But certainly the excitement of any clutch hatching. I mean, any egg can be magic. People say, I just did this pairing of children's pythons. And where do you think all the new morphs come from? Just a pairing of something. And like that Darren Whittaker bloke, I'll just pair up my old Murrays here. Oh, hang on a minute. What's this weird silver pepper looking thing? Like it's any egg can be a miracle,
Yep. And something, and there's lots of it. Like you go back for years, and there's been heaps of unusual stuff hatch out. Not all of it proves out. A lot of it's just random anomalies. When you look at Paradox and Chimera, a lot of it's just random and rarely reproducible. But yeah, to hatch something, and then the excitement of I have to grow it up or breed it with something else, and that whole line breeding thing to try and see if you've actually got something or not. It's fun. It's great. It's always enjoyable. Yep. So, and
that weird stuff that pops out, whether it's polygenic or chimeras or whatever, it gives you years more work, to prove it, disprove it, try and make more weird chimeras, paradox things, whatever, like trying to unlock the secrets is half the fun and keeps it interesting. Yeah. I always like to have a sort of a new thing to be chasing every year, so it's like this year, I have to get this, so I'll just put so much effort into that. This year was caramel granites. It's just annoyed me for 3 seasons. I'm like, I'm getting it done. Doesn't matter. And those double heads that you managed, so took the pressure off me. But there's always something, So it was caramel granites this year. Next year be ghost granites, and I'm happy. That was the end of my list from 10 or 11 years ago. So it's good to have something fresh every year to be chasing.
I think that's also the thing too. They're all long-term projects. There's nothing fast in this hobby as much as we want it to be. Just, you're dealing with odds. I mean, you know, I know I referenced the Moonglow clutch. Brent and I managed to get a pair of caramel double het albino xanthics for Brent and myself, exactly the same year.
Same day, same time.
Out. Yep, same time, same from the same clutch. And Brent hatched yours out very first clutch, and I think you got a couple, didn't you, from memory? And yours are now what, adults and breeding?
One male, which I was stoked at, one white one, which I actually thought was a moon. It was white, like, and it was this, like, came out of the egg, and it was the whitest snake I've ever seen. And I was like, it's a moon. I sent a picture to Sharpie. Sharpie goes, I think it's moon. He goes, you just can't tell. And sure enough, I thought it was moon for about 7 months. It shed one day and went a little bit yellow, and I went, oh, that's weird. And it shed next time, and I was like, it's a snow. It's at sort of 10 months old. It was very evident that it definitely wasn't a moon. So they can be tricky, those little white ones. So caution not to get too excited about white snakes, because they can turn yellow.
Misleading. Yeah.
But he's grown up, and he was breeding last year, bred last year, and bred again this year. So that's like you say, the luck of getting what you want, or like you being a useless bottle-winning person with 100 eggs and no white ones.
Yep, that's it. So that's the fun of odds. You know, just because the ratios say that doesn't mean anything. So anyway, what do? Keep breeding, and next year's another year. So, Katie, I've got to say, the worst part of watching these cuts is the wish list growing. Yeah, don't worry, we're the same. Don't you worry. We see lots of stuff and go, oh, geez, you know, wouldn't mind that. But over time, as you start to accumulate more and more stuff, you tend to be less reliant on everything else. It's only when something new comes along that you see that you must have. But once you kind of get all those genes, you can start mixing and, you know, your own combos up and working. And, you know, I think I'm lucky, and I assume Brent the same. We have a good relationship, you know, as mates, and the ability to be able to share projects and work together, you know, to conquer the same goals. So, you know, instead of having to go, oh, I'll sell you this and I'll buy that from you, you know, which we've had these discussions in the past, you know, if you remember back in time. And in the end, I just said, mate, I'll give you that. You breed that to this, and you do that, and then we'll split this, and everyone's happy. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, but you've got to match. Those things can work well, but you need to trust people's collections. You need to trust that person does the right thing. I can tell you more horror stories about these sort of things than ones that work. You know, so,
breeding loans are the quickest way to lose mates. It's people have very, very weird expectations how things work out. So
everything I said to Brent was all virus tested, the whole lot, before, and went into his quarantine before it went into his collection. So, you know, which is good for me, because you think he's going to get a virus tested and you have an automatic panic.
You know, it's good to know. Wrong, but
it's exactly right.
It's good to know. It's good to know there's no issues lurking there. So it's good for everybody. That's the only way to know. That's the bit I can't express to people. I must say it a million times. Anyone who's talked to me about that stuff, I'm like, there's only one way to know, and that's to test.
Yeah. Kurt, Platinums are incomplete dominant nowadays. Well, I don't know where you read they're incomplete dominant. I've heard they're recessive. I don't know. Surely if it's recessive, that would be extremely obvious. You know, there's A grades, there's B grades. I don't know. It is something. Brett and I are talking about getting people on in the future once we get through egg cutting season. So, you know, be good to get a couple of egg guys on and discuss their thoughts, theories, and, you know, I know people
see the work.
I know people like Peter Birch, for example, keeps extremely fastidious copies of everything they do produce and breed every year. And I'm sure there's other people, maybe yourself as well, Kurt. You know, so they're topics of interest. I think anyway. Everyone has a difference of opinion, you know.
Yeah.
So
the more it's discussed and everyone shares their findings, the more we'll get answers, you know.
Yeah, it's no sort of bias. Darren Boswell, what was that one? What are you using for an incubation tub there, Des? They are, I don't know what they are. They're like a bread tub. I don't have one here. Do I? I thought I had one, actually. No, there is. There's actually, just let me see if I can slide back far enough, Des. Look, we've got 40 million miles of cord here. Oh, mate, it's pretty long. Like, whee! Slide back.
Good to see you got pants on this time.
Yes, I thought I should after the last time I did it. Don't mind that. That was just the lids. So this is them here, Daz. I don't know. I have found them on the internet once before. So that's the tub, right? And it's a little tray. You can see get that angle right. You can see the little feet that sit up there. They're actually like a 5 litre. I actually have water bowls in some of the adult python tanks that are exactly the same as these tubs. So I don't know where they come from. I actually got them from Cameron Meredith years ago, really cheap, because he bought a whole pile of them. But yeah, just sits on and clips on top. But that's the actual tub there. Obviously, in that photo, you can see before the eggs were sitting on the mesh. And I just put a bit of water in the bottom. That's all I do. Bit of water in the bottom, put the tray on, put the eggs in, put the lid on. I have little holes soldered on each corner of those tubs. The lids are now over there on the floor. And I can seal them up if I want to or not. But yeah, that's the tubs. I don't know. I think I've got like 50 of them. I think 40 of those. And for my ants, I use system of tubs, little 5 litre. I think they are 3 litre and 5 litre system of tubs, just depending on the size of the clutch that I use. And they've just got the same sort of thing, that bread crate cut up. And I use a bit of bread crate. Yeah, I use a bit of bread crate, a couple of little pieces that go across the width of the tub, based on the floor, and then a piece that covers all lots in on top of that. So it gives the same effect. Bit of water in the bottom, and in they go. There you go. Simple. What do you use, Brent? You use the same tubs, Brent?
Plain old tubs, mate. I have a massive variety of stuff. Most of this one is the one that I do. They're just a Bunnings clip top club. Where is it? Let me lead off this thing.
Yeah. Well, they like a 15 litre thing, are they?
Like just a little 10 litre.
10 litre
for most of the carpet egg things. So they just clip. But I have quite a few, some steamer ones and some things, and same deal, just the standard aquarium divider mesh, a light diffuser mesh, eBay. And I just use these as the spacers, which you get in Bunnings for a couple of bucks. They ground, I don't know what they call it, some sort of ground flange pipe thing. Plumbing people will know, but pretty much, yeah, same deal. Mix in the bottom. Just sit 4 of those in the bottom, and the mesh sits on top, gives it a little bit of a gap underneath, and she's good to go. So,
what do you use for substrate, mate? Are you using water, or are you still using like a vermiculite mix or perlite mix, or?
I still do a mix of vermiculite and water, 50-50. It stays wet for the whole time. You know, it's quite wet in the mix when it's first made up, and I sort of make 2 or 3 tubs a week as I'm going along. If I think there's going to be a few clutches, I'll make 3 or 4, just so I haven't pre-made it in the incubator, so that mix is basically pre-warmed. It's sitting at 31 degrees in the incubator, empty tub. And if I get eggs in the morning, I'll just grab a tub straight out of the incubator, set the eggs up, and off they go. Well, Sheree grabs them through the day now. She's fully trained and operational, just the egg master. But I do like that mesh. Even for Antaresia, those little eggs sit perfectly basically in those little squares, and it stops them from moving. You can sort of just line them up along the squares. I've seen Emma and Zach use little pegs. Great idea.
Yeah.
Like peg either end just to hold the eggs.
Yeah, so I see people using pegs to hold them in place. I just get too lazy.
I just stuck them, man. I don't even mark eggs anymore. They just go in, and I just don't touch them. You know, like people are always worried about moving stuff. I dead set. I'll put an incubation tub in there, and I'll lift the lid off it to fan it off. Those eggs will not move. You know, these ones here tonight have never been moved since the second they went in the incubator. So if you don't move them, you can't roll them. You know.
Yeah, but I find, you know, I'll just share this pic soon as I've still got it up here for a sec. What I'll do is, you can see my cursor, eggs like this, is I'll wedge them in between 2 eggs. So I'll take that one on the bottom right-hand side there, wedge it in. So I actually use the eggs to stop as an anti-roll system rather than a peg.
Yes.
It's the same thing. But if I've got a few eggs that are just spot, and I'll wedge the egg in here and wedge the egg in there and so each egg acts as the buffer for the other one, and it just stops them moving around. And that egg there on the side here was actually one of those eggs that was free ranged in
Free baller.
Yeah, I pulled them off. So I just shoved it in there and just like wedged it in there. And same as you, Brent, I don't move it once they're in there. You know, it's like I'll unclip the tub, I'll lift the lid, give it a bit of a couple of shakes up and down just to create a bit of airflow in there. Put the lid on, I'll leave it, go to the next shelf, you know. Rarely do I ever take them out unless it's getting close to hatching, pipping, in which case then I'll start to pull the tub out so I can look at the eggs that are, you know, in a stack like that one to see the eggs at the back, because sometimes you get a snake that pips at the back of the egg. So knowing it's only a few days left or within a week, I'll take the tub out once every couple of days and have a look. If I can't see anything, go, I know they're due to hatch. But yeah, other than that, that's the only time I tend to touch them. So
simple stuff. Yeah, Kurt's saying get that stuff in big sheets. It's exactly stay there, cushion. The way to do it, and then basically you can buy it in sheets like that.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a place in Sydney that sells it. I'll find the place where I get it, and I always have a couple of sheets just lurking around, and you can pretty much angle grinder is quickest and easiest. Just trim it up to size, and you know you can make any tub be the right size for it.
You could use that instead of buying those feet you could use that as a footing as well. If you cut a narrow strip, like maybe 3 or 4 squares sort of thing across, and just the width of the tub, have one at one end and one at the other end, and just put the other sheet on top.
On top, yeah.
Nice.
Yep, I like a good gap, like those little floor flanges, the Bunnings things. They're a decent sort of height, so I can have the 5 mil gap I like between the top of your mix to the bottom of the mesh. So even if you get a tub out and you're a bit rowdy with it, it's not going to splash up. And that's the only reason. I mean, you can use straight water. The only reason I don't is water extremely sloppy. You know, if you get that out and tip it a bit, the water will splash up everywhere. So the vermiculite just kind of turns it into a bit of a muddy mix. So even if you're a bit wild, it's not really going to splash and touch the eggs. So bit of a safety guard.
When I say I put water in it, I'd be lucky to cover the water I put in it wouldn't cover the floor. You know, you put water in something and it'll pull to a side and then it'll slowly creep before it covers. It wouldn't even cover the floor. So, but as we were just saying, I never touch the tubs anyway. So the chance of that happening is extremely minimal. And on the rarest of occasions, I might pull a tub out because there's, you know, you see a couple of eggs that have gone rotten. You think, I'll just take them out. But you know, if you're careful and you're aware of how you do it, I've never had an issue with it. But it is definitely a safety precaution. And when you go back in time, that was the way it was done. You used to mix the vermiculite 50-50 by weight with water and put the eggs on top, sit them straight on top. You know, that was, and then I used to do a dry bed of perlite. And anyway, that's probably enough information there for another show. Let's go on. This tonight's show, what we're cutting, have to go back and have a look, mate. But it's a caramel double het granite albino cross albino het granite. So Brent got 4 albinos, a couple of granites, and a couple of wildies in the clutch. Carl Smith was asking about the big snake. Got a 7 foot compared to 3.5, 4 foot Super Z breadlie with a Super Z. Mate, that's fine. That should be all right. Like I said, just be aware, pay attention. You know, don't slap them in together and walk away. You know, if that female is still looking for a bit of feed or is hungry, you know, the big one can eat, or the male, yours was the male, was the big one. Unlikely with a male. I've never heard of a male attacking a female, because normally the male has one thing on his mind, if he's been cooled and everything, and that's not eating the girl, it's doing something else, normally. So, Nick Howard, any word out there on Sydney Expos for next year? There is Adrian Hemmons. He's talking about having his show at Stanhope Gardens, I think it is, in February. It's normally towards mid-end of February.
Right. End of Feb, I think. Late in Feb, 29th or something.
Something like that. So that'll be the first one.
27, something, yeah.
And I know, obviously, Illawarra, Joe Payne and the guys down there do an awesome job down there. They're talking about having one later on in the year, I think, which is great. So everything there. Gosh, what a homo. Yeah, Brent is Colin. Totally.
Colin's very homo-orientated tonight, isn't he?
He is, definitely. Yeah.
Normal, but just a bit extra tonight. He's a little bit wound up there.
A little bit frustrated, maybe. You know? Never know. So what's Tookie said here? I was reading about a king snake from the US that the owner couldn't stop from eating itself.
Wow. Yeah, smart snake.
making turning itself into a donut. There you go. I've had few that often you'll feed, and it'll completely miss the mouse or the rat, whatever it is you're feeding, and bite itself up on itself, and it's just like, really, you can't feel that.
and then you just got to poke the rat somewhere in its body that it can hang on, so it's happy and walk away.
Yeah. And eventually, it lets go and goes, "What happened there?
Who bit me?"
Yeah. So, but yeah, they do silly things, I guess. Because cheers, enjoy the beer. I'm enjoying the beer. That's good. Your Corona's here, Cole. I've actually got one here for you, mate. There's another one in the bag yet. So I brought 4 just in case. So
just in case you talk for an hour.
An hour too long. That's every time. Next clutch will have Emma saying the next clutch will have a caramel granite. Brent, there you go.
Let's hope so. Or I think Zimac might have a clutch very shortly. The one that Emma checks 400 times a day. That she might pop one out very shortly too.
That's a lie, Brent. Don't exaggerate. She checks it a lot more than that. Look.
That is correct. We often get an hourly update from Emma on how many times. It's not yet. So,
like they say,
I hope they get something up there. They've got a cracking caramel line going up there that they've made themselves. So it'll be cool to see
they got some nice
true caramel granites out there and about.
Yeah. So, like they say, I've told you a billion times, don't exaggerate.
I don't know. I think Emma's been glued to the front of that incubator for the last week.
Stop licking the glass, Emma.
Just get the snakes out.
Yeah. We'll skim through because I am way behind the messages. I'm not trying to read everything and talk. It doesn't work. You've got to do 2 things at once. I had to cut down the collection of morphs to move, but albino knobtails next season. Albino knobtails, very cool.
That'd be cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Things. Carl Smith, it would have been nice if Peter could have brought a few of the Aussie snakes from America when he was up there. Yeah.
Would be nice, but the Australian government's not so keen on playing games, despite every other animal. Fish, birds, whatever, you can do as you want. Let's not start that talk there.
Yeah, it's just a ball of frustrations, sending them out of the country. What's the issue, really? Anyway. Let's go down. Missed it again. Tyler Copley. No excuses, mate. Jeez. No worries, Daz. Not a problem. Corey Farr. The Plastic Man. That sounds familiar. Yeah, Corey, with the incubation tubs I was showing. Yeah, the Plastic Man sounds like the place. It was in the back of my head. I couldn't remember where it was. Yeah, that's about right. They are quite cheap. I think they're great. The perfect size for carpet eggs. And I've had clutches of, I think the biggest clutch I've dumped in one's from a Bredli, 39, I think, from a Bredli girls, and that fits in one of those. Yeah. That fitted in one of those tubs. It's very full and very heavy, but mate, they hatched them all. Yeah, I think that the head albino ones I first did, Brent, was a clutch of 36.
Yep.
In one of those.
Three of those served me extremely well. Thank you.
Yeah, I failed on that, didn't I? I didn't fail on the pepper granite thing, just saying.
Hey, take it and run with it. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, we win. Can't ensure you get the tubs off internet. Yep, that's correct. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly skim through because Brent's riveting tonight. He's very excited. After live chat, we'll have to work out tech side of it all like Brent. It's not that hard, mate. We pretty much do everything from here. You just literally need a headset or something that you can hear with, something you're talking to, and you can do it on your phone. So
easy going.
Yeah, it's not that hard. Aidan Dempsey's being rude. You're asking if you're a B cup, Brent.
Man, I'm happy I'm only a B now, mate. Earlier this year I was a C pushing a D cup, so I'm back going down. I'll be like Aiden A for A cup, surely. So
Yeah. Could put up link airfoil for that stuff that you've got for the incubation tubs. The aquarium grill. Great. What's that used for? That the great stuff in? You said it was aquarium. Is that just put on the bottom to put like the?
They use it for fish dividers, like vertical in tanks where they've got bigger fish to stop. The water can travel, but the fish can't. And it's also used in overhead lighting as a diffuser. So they put the lights up above it, and it tends to reflect the light out a bit better underneath to soften the light out.
Yeah, especially with those marine tanks where they need the good doses. UV lights and stuff. Samuel Dittmer's asking, have you thought about water crystals, Brent? Like as in the tubs?
Yeah, done it.
Just experience with that.
Pain in the ass. Yeah, I've done it. I've got tubs of the stuff down in the garage. That, every year I'd buy another tub. Forgetting I still had half a tub from last year. So. But yeah, I've done it. I don't know, just fiddly and shitty. You could probably make up a heap and get them done, and it'd be stable. Like they definitely don't slop around much. But that vermiculite, I buy this huge bag of it. It's not much money every year, and I just use the little hatchy water bowls to scoop it out. 5 into those tubs and 5 cups of water. You can make up a tub in literally 10 seconds in the incubator. So it's quick and easy for me. It's just time. Everything I do is more time based. And if it works and it's quick, then I'm happy.
Yep, there you go. Simple. I've used the water crystals, and I actually had some bad times with it. I actually lost. Look, I don't know if it was the crystals, but when clutches would hatch, as you saw last night, sometimes they go underneath the grate, and they would go into that water crystal stuff. Now, some of those would hatch, and I could only assume they're looking for a drink. So, pips tonight, by the morning, they may have come out, and you find some in that stuff. I had several of those snakes die. So I stopped using that water crystals, and I stopped losing snakes. So
now, you think they might have swallowed a complete crystal or something?
They've gone in because, the same as you, it wasn't a dry mix. I put it in, and it was just to stop the slushing, so to speak, because I was using more water at that point in time. I did it for 2 years in a row. Both years I lost carpet pythons. Not all of them, but you have a clutch of 20, and for some reason there's 3 dead ones.
And they'd be down in the bottom.
And they'd be down the bottom.
Oh, anyway.
Yep. So I don't know whether they've gone in, they've gone, oh, let's have a drink. And obviously, whatever chemicals there weren't good for them. And I just went, I don't know if it is the water crystals, but it certainly, from everything I saw, it certainly pointed that way. I stopped using them, and I stopped having the problem. That's why the following year I just went straight to just water. And it seemed to alleviate that issue. So, and like I said, it's literally just that'll do enough to just put moisture, and you still get the humidity in the tub. The water drop was forming on everything. Yeah,
it's generally thought that people try to get above 90% humidity in those tubs, and I don't think it needs it. I know Neville up north has been doing dry stuff. Obviously more humid up in Queensland and easier to try these experiments, but I don't think you need crazy, humidity in there. I'm really going to start trying backing off some of these mixes like you do. Just a little bit of water, but try to get an overall humidity going in the incubator that all my lids, like what I would call extreme loose fitting, when they're sitting in their tubs in the incubator, I just have the lid sitting on like that. They're not clipped up. So basically I can come in on it, just flap the lid. I just do that to pump a bit of air in and out, so they're not sealed and locked in. Then I have a water tub at the bottom of the incubator, which creates humidity through everywhere for the incubator. So I think they could go drier. In the wild, I hate the in the wild story with snakes because a lot of it's bullshit compared to captive bred snake stories. But in the wild, those snakes would not have access to that extreme high humidity where they're wrapped on eggs, in the desert, in dirt, in sand, in places that they lay those clutches. So they still do fine. You definitely in wild eggs, you see the eggs are often look a lot more dried out, and dehydrated looking than how we have the big bubbly, exploding captive type eggs. But they all hatch in the wild too, So it's
but it's the same old argument, It was like, you look at certain species that live in the desert, even bearded dragons, for example. It gets below 0 degrees out there. Yeah, it does. They're not sitting out in it. You know, like you
Yeah.
don't need to freeze, whether it's a python from the desert or worm or whatever, or a stimson or whatever, or a dragon. They're not sitting out in that freezing cold temperature like you and me. They're sitting somewhere warm, so that might be under a rock that's been sitting in 35 degrees, 40 degrees all day
Half
long.
buried in the sand that's still warm.
That's exactly right. And yes, it's going to be cooler. It's not going to be 0 degrees. It's probably 18 degrees in there. It's going to have a far more stable temperature and less susceptible to atmospheric temperature. And I think it's the same with eggs. The snake looks for a place to lay its eggs. It doesn't lay them out and coil up on them in the middle of a paddock where it's subjected to direct sunlight and pouring down rain. It finds a log hollow where it's insulated and it has a more stable, constant temperature. And these areas will probably retain some sort of humidity that's above what you would get outside. So when it's stinking hot and dry outside, in that log hollow or under that rock, it's still going to be cooler. It's going to be damper. It's going to be more stable. So, you know, you've got to think, you know, when was the last time you saw a photo of a snake on eggs out in the wild that's in the middle of nowhere? You know, they're not. They're always in burrows and ledges. They're always hiding somewhere where there's a more stable, consistent temperature.
Yeah, they pick a spot, obviously is safe from prey, but also suitable for temps to be maintained.
Yeah, and obviously then they have the thermogenesis to keep them eggs warm and everything, all that sort of stuff. So,
That's like Richard's saying maternal incubation, where females are pissed on the eggs when she decided they weren't wet enough. Yep, happens a lot. It's I'll take a dump in the corner right near it, or create some self-humidity over the top of the clutches, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But you know, if they want it there, they'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, talking about that, chatting, I think you were there. We were talking to, or I've speaking to Birch in the past. He said with the maternal incubation stuff, because I was talking to him about it, he's actually witnessed some of his ants actually coming out, going through the water bowl, and going back on the eggs
and drag it back around.
You know, drag it back around to try and create some humidity. So, you know, I mean, they've been doing this shit for years, years, so it's not the first rodeo.
Eggs are tough, you know, like we think they're super fragile, but they're very tough in short periods of time. So if you've got an egg and water drops on it from your top of your tub, you know, condensation hits it and rolls off it, that's going to be fine, you know. But if that egg's touching the bottom vermiculite mix or water or whatever you've got in there for 24 or 48 hours, then you got a problem, you know. Like the eggs are tough, you know, short periods of temp spikes, a little bit of moisture, you know, but just things that over, like most reptile stuff, things that happen for extended periods of time, you know, generally create problems.
Yep. So Katie Gordon says here, I love the Orbeez. What are Orbeez? I was going to use water crystals recommended by Medusa's Den, pythons, rodents, rabbits, but I rushed it and used perlite first. Big failure. But Chakariki recommended Orbeez. Oh, there you go. And after ordering 1 million of them, I'm glad they worked perfectly. Well, it's funny, you know, I back in the day, you know, 20 years ago when we were incubating stuff, it was vermiculite, and it was a 50-50 ratio, generally by weight.
Perlite. Yep.
So, you know, you get out your vermiculite, you'd get out your scales, and you'd pour 500 grams of vermiculite and then 500 grams of water, not 500 mils, and you know, it's by weight. And then you give it a good mix up. So you squeeze it, no water would drop out, but it would clump together, and then you flatten it out, and the eggs would sit on top. It then went from there to putting a dry layer of perlite on top, and you would sit the eggs on the dry layer of perlite, and so it evolves. But I've never had any issues with doing it that way. It's just more work, you know. Like you said, Brent, you know, you got to get your 3 cups, and then you've got to do this and mix it up. I go to sit and go, there's some water, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going, oh shit, I've got clutches, I've got to buy some, you know, vermiculite or perlite. A mate of mine, Steve Parker, put everything, including, you know, dragons and Antaresia, you know, Henry Lawsoni, gecko eggs, everything, did the whole lot on perlite. Never ever used vermiculite, did everything on perlite, same way, and never had an issue. So, you know.
The suspended stuff only really the last 8 or 10 years or so. You know, it wasn't the thing forever. So the raised eggs, I guess, just adds that extra protection that people tried it and it worked so fantastically. It was all water crystals in the early days, but everyone tried it and went, this is great, I'm getting fantastic results, and it became the normal very quickly that everyone sort of converted to that out of pure safety. I think it's people realise that the eggs are touching nothing, they're not going to have any issues.
Yeah, I think it's always evolving. People are always changing. People try things out. I don't always think I don't think a dry method's necessarily a great thing. You might have success with one clutch and the next clutch dries up and doesn't hatch because it's too dry. So, when the eggs are laid, they need to absorb a certain amount of moisture.
You really just got to find what works for you, whatever way you can do it, which the time-wise or setup-wise, when people find something that they get the best results with, you just stick with it. If something's working, I just don't change it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, if anything, that's what makes me think about you get the odd eggs going off, and I think it's more so, a fertility thing. It's not really a conditions thing that you get 1 or 2 or 3 eggs go off in a clutch. Other clutches, they're all perfect. So I think if it was too humid, you'd be seeing a lot more of the eggs or all of the eggs going off. So, but I'm keen to try a little bit drier and see how that goes. But it's just trial and error. When you're happy, run with it.
Yep. Richard Hudspeth, there you go, mate. Good to see you had a couple of critters in the book too, mate. Well done. That's awesome. It's good to see that. I've been keeping a secret from you, Brent.
You got them already?
I've been keeping a little secret from you.
Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, wow.
I was going to surprise you. Because I got to go see him. So I was
like, special signature?
One's for me, from Justin. Daisy Legend. Top bloke.
Excellent.
So,
well,
got myself a book, Brent a book, and I've got a couple of spare ones.
You're coming to visit very soon then?
Yeah, I have to. So I cannot wait.
Good looking book, very good looking book. Many years in the making. So hopefully worth the wait. We'll find out shortly.
It is a very, very thick book. It is a
very solid.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I don't want to open them.
I hope it's much like the ultimate ball python morph maker book. Where it just becomes the Bible.
It's probably. Yeah, it's not quite as big as that Ultimate Ball Pythons book, which is up there. But it's I mean, obviously, there's not 5,000 mutations like there, plus.
Yeah, exactly. Python. I was going to say, we don't have the mix they have.
Yeah, but had a flick through and it looks very good. So, she'll have window liquor extraordinaire. Katie got Dad's got to take them out and on the paper towels when they pip, or just before, but Orbeez are better than water crystals. Look, I normally don't touch them when they pip. I cut the eggs, I leave them, I wait till they come out. So when they come out, like once a few have come out, I'll then cut the eggs. Normally what I do here is when we do the shows, I normally cut the eggs. Once we've kind of finished, I normally take them away, take the tray out, put the paper down, drop the eggs back on it. But sometimes by the time I finish, I'll just chuck them back in the incubator because they've been sitting on the floor for an hour and they're quite cold. So I just want to get them back into the warmth. So, all the ones that have all hatched now, the albinos the other night, they're all on paper towel and water bowls in there, sorted. Emma, Nev hatched jungle eggs by sitting them in his bathroom. Yeah. We've always said, the difference is instead of 55 days, for example, will be 95 days.
Yep, more time.
Yep. I think if they're too cold, they probably wouldn't hatch, but as long as it's in a fairly decently warm area, 26, 27 degrees, they'll probably hatch. Samuel, what's that say? Yep, agree with Brent. I have to wipe the lid of the every day or two because water droplets just form so quickly. Yeah, I mean, if you've got water forming inside your tub, there's enough humidity in there.
Yeah, basically, it's basically 100%.
Oh, yeah, that was what you said before. Richard, seen a couple of maternally incubated clutches where females have peed on the eggs. Yep. Yeah, for I don't mean to say simple in a bad way, but for such a simple creature, they know what they need to do to survive. They've
been doing it long enough.
Yep.
Long before we thought we could do it better than them.
Yeah, Katie, and let's not forget just how many wild snakes don't survive. 100%. Definitely. That's why they have big clutches, and that's why every species of animal that's highly predated on have massive litters / clutches. Rodents, the same thing. You know, that's why they have big litters. The chances of them all surviving are extremely limited. You know, who'd ever want to be swimming in the ocean and be born as a pilchard? You know, I'd much rather be a great white or a mako shark or something or other than a pilchard that everything eats.
Kill a whale will do. No natural predators.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, they even smash whites. So, it sounds like rough Saturday night. I'm not sure about you, Brent, but maybe Aiden does something we don't.
Who knows what goes on in Aiden's head? He's a scattered unit.
He doesn't know what goes on in his head.
No.
Kurt, agree. Overwater method is the simplest and easiest method out there and works the best for me every year now for 10 years. Yeah, mate, I've been doing overwater now for at least probably 5 or 6. I think it was when I very first went to the warehouse that I did the excuse me, the water crystal stuff, and that would have been 2012, 13, 14, something like that. So yeah, I only did that for a couple of years. I went, nah, something's not right. So there we go. So I think I got nailed everyone's questions. Flying through.
We've got.
There you go.
Cleared them out. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I like
excellent
close to the camera.
Hour and 26, mate. Well, we're struggling to get under.
And an hour and 20 minutes of shit talk from me.
Exactly. That's what happens. Man, we're happy to answer the questions, though. You know, as much as I'd prefer 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and be back inside. But, we'll answer what we can and try and snip them out a bit quicker.
Yeah, and it's good to actually hear other people's points of view and other people's experience of stuff, talking about the substrate, people that, you know, like the water crystals. You know, I don't like them. That's just my personal experience with them.
Yep. You
know, and as you said, Brent, you know, whatever works for you. Doesn't matter what it is. Everyone does things differently. It doesn't mean it's wrong. You know, and when you can accept that there's no one way, like if Neville wants to incubate all his eggs without water and in his bathroom, I think, sitting in his bathroom, that's his choice. You know, if it works for him, that's fantastic. You know?
There's lots and lots of right ways, you know, with reptiles. There's some definite wrong ways, but many people get it done. So find what works.
And there's a nice bloke, and you know, he's certainly done a lot of weird and unusual testing things over the years, and that's how we learn. You know, that's how we learn stuff. If we don't do that sort of stuff, we never, you know, we stay in the same box we've lived in and we never explore outside. So
definitely, you
need people to do that sort of stuff, and you know, the fact that they all share it and all that, and along with anyone else that does that sort of stuff, I think it's great.
Yep,
so,
just try in small portions, and if it works, expand it out. So I tried a couple of racks of girls this year on constant heat of carpet pythons. I think there was 6 girls in those racks that I bred, and 5 out of 6 bred. So that's on 24/7. Sorry, no, that's basically no cooling. Nighttime heat drops to 25-ish, 24-ish, and 34 through the day. So all year.
Yep, that's exactly right. You know, you don't need. There's no need. I've always said there's no need for extremes. You know, something can survive 4 degrees at night time, but for how long? You know, there's like shinglebacks kept outdoors in Sydney. Yeah, they're fine for so long, but eventually they'll start to get, you know,
get an RI.
Yeah, they get a skin condition, you know, because they're not used to living in the humid conditions of Sydney, and they all become sick. Like, you know, they're designed to live in a dry, arid climate. That's where they come from. You bring them into Sydney, where you've got a high humidity coastal leaf fawns, you know, and they get skin rot. So, you know, Bryce Girls, any world first in the pipeline this season? That died with me this season. So, clutch of slugs. So it was one, but you know, maybe next year.
Next year,
There's more stuff in the pipeline that's always coming. You know, more combinations and stuff. And I've had a quieter season this season, but I'm sure I'll get the shits with it soon when I'm like, oh, I've got nothing left to sell. I sold.
Time to load up.
I'll be like, oh. So yeah, it'll change. So how about you, Brent? You got anything? What's your most exciting thing coming for you?
Nothing world firstish this year. I managed to steal that albino pepper jag from your world first collection last year. So that's
Right, mate. I can't have
about
them all.
no. So I was happy to pinch that one, but no, I think that's probably it. It's the same pairing again this year. So,
Yeah.
but
Awesome.
no, I don't think so. It's nothing that's that sort of high tech this season.
Yeah, no, you can't win everything all the time. I'm happy. I think I've done five or six or something or other. Like other people will get other things and good on them. That's what it's all about, the hobby.
Yep.
Anyway, what's Samuel say? I think we didn't we? Sunglow pepper. Jared Sharp says he's got a Sunglow pepper. That'll be great to see when that's proved out. It certainly looks lines, but if you look at talking about Neville Rybelt, you look at some of the albino MDs that he has, and I have the same. Some of them are easily mistaken for the Sunglow. So it'll be interesting to see how that one of Jared's pans out, and if it proves out. I'm not saying Jared certainly knows what he's talking about. He's certainly an experienced guy. He's a good bloke and a mate. I just side on the question side, just because I've seen so much variation in the albino MDs. Everything from your normal yellow and white to high yellow and oranges, which is more elusive of a Sunglow. What are you pulling out, Brent?
Last year's one that last year's little world first happened to be close by.
So you look at that. There you go. There's no caramel in that, is there?
I don't know, and like we just discussed, it's near impossible to tell. I think that's just an albino.
Yep.
Because it's held now nearly 12 months old, and it's held those colours and pattern. I think it's got definitely, you can see the Murray influence in there. Whoops, sorry, mate.
Yep.
It's definitely got the Murray influence in there, that you can sort of see that it's definitely strong oranges and yellow edging. But if that was Sunglow or Super Sunglow, that pattern would be absolutely smashed out of it. It would basically just be an all solid yellow snake, much like a Sunglow Jag is,
Sunglow Jag, yeah. Coming for the photo.
Yeah, so it's.
When you, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing just an albino pepper jag is my best guess.
Yeah. Jared. I'm just trying to see when I find the photo of one of Jared's. I mean, he's got some nice animals, that's for sure. If he's got a photo. Jared normally pops in. I don't know if he's in there at all, but photos. It's a cracking animal. Even I've got a few of the caramel versions, obviously here, and they're cracking animals.
Yep, those red eyes are just mind blowing. Every time I sort of open that tub, it's just like, wow. Oops.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing too. It's that solid eye color that they all have just makes them. So I'm just going. So if everyone looks at that snake Brent has, and Brent even thinks it's more that, I'm just going to steal your thunder here for a second, Brent.
Take it, mate. I think we've seen enough of this. I'll put it away. It doesn't like the light a lot. So
there's Jared Sunglow pepper. So you can see a similarity between that and Brent. So, I mean, fantastic if it is. That's awesome, and I'm certainly not saying Jared's wrong or he's telling fibs, but it still has a lot of contrast in it and stuff like that. So, good looking snake. Oh, look at that view of Brent. Goodness, mate.
Hello.
There he is.
Nice bit of poo all down the back of that little boy when I put him back there. Good job.
Ah, must be eating well.
Stands out well on light coloured snakes.
Paradox.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably get on, or else we'll just keep answering questions. Albino Pepper Jag, very nice.
Go back to your normal camera.
What, don't you like being in the limelight?
Oh, I'm good, but they come here to see you, mate. You in your man bag.
I do all the dribble of talking.
Mm.
So, anyway, we should probably call it, mate. I think we've been talking way too long. Well, I have. Sorry.
Yep, it's time. I've got to go to bed.
I don't.
And Grandma Dixon is going as well, so there's definitely time. If Grandma Dixon's out, it's over and out.
Certainly is. All right. Well, thanks for dropping in, saying hello. Enjoy having a chat, and hopefully we'll be back in a few nights with another exciting clutch. So keep an eye out on our page. Where can people find you?
KHP Reptiles on Facebook, www.khpreptiles.com.au website, or Brent Smith on Messenger.
Yep, and so I mean, really obliged.
Mr. Morelia.
Yep, come and harass us, send us messages, and we'll get there eventually. Thanks everyone. Good night, and we will see you all again soon. Ciao, guys.
Thanks, guys.